I don't like that. Greetings and welcome to Runescape Weekly. Pyrnassius is with me. Welcome.
Hello, hello.
I just shot a bunch of biotine into my mouth and totally tasted horrible. That was a nightmare.
Don't you love when you just click on Twitch and it doesn't update on you, and now you have to put in all your information again?
Yes. Oh, I love that. That sounds amazing. I feel like oh my goodness. That was not a pleasurable experience.
So you do that before you actually go live.
I know. Oh, I also really wanted my microphone to be muted, but
oh wow! I've got broadcast. Isn't it? Okay, this channel is intended for mature audiences. Do I want to watch?
oh yeah. We're dangerous. I swear. And sometimes you never know. You don't know what could happen here. Oh, that stuff really went down my throat. All right, we have an exciting show for you today, and I'm on a time limit, so I don't want to dilly dally too much, because I thought I had like unlimited time, but I don't have unlimited time. So let's rock and roll.
Let's hit it.
Yeah, I'm just looking for the show notes. Why?
Oh, that's funny.
Okay, here they are.
Okay, let's go.
Yep. Just bringing up the music. VLC player is not my favorite thing in the world. It is actually my favorite thing in the world, but it always loads the music player way louder than I want it to. We get down to about 25%. Okay, and here we go. 3, 2, 1. You're listening to Runescape Weekly for March 16th, 2019. I'm your host. I almost said I'm your host, Runescape. That's not gonna work.
Bringing you Magebit.
I don't know why. I don't know why. Let's start that over. Also, the music sounds extremely tinny in these headphones. I don't know why either. Really low bass. All right, let's try that again. 3, 2, 1. You're listening to Runescape Weekly for March 16th, 2019. I'm your host, Magebit, with over 17 years of RuneScape experience. Joining me today is Pyrnassius, and on today's show, Bounty Hunter Redistribution, Gemrock's Hotfix, Compcape Rework Announcement, Compcape Dev Q&A, Compcape Design Update, Cassie Curran Interview, a solution to Onyx, thank you Jagex, yay parcels, Wilderness Question, incentives for Wildy Slayer, Slayer Skill Masters Needed, really Jagex, burn the Compcape, and why not a server for every year? Thank you for tuning into this edition of RuneScape Weekly, and enjoy the show. Thank you for tuning into this Saturday edition of RuneScape Weekly. Magebit here. Pyrnassius joining me. How you doing, Pern?
Yes. I'm not too bad. I do like how you just said Gemrock hotfix, though, but a sneaky little update that they tried to sneak under everyone's nose.
Yeah, they got it in there.
It's not a hotfix, it's just a screw the skillers update again.
It got in there. It's hot, and it fixed.
Yes, it's a hot topic.
Did it fix the game? That's what's hot about it. That's the real question. Is it really a fix? Is the question. That's what we'll be discussing right here,
it's a hot nerf.
right now. Stay tuned. 1 second. I was gonna get some. Now that I've sprayed the crap out of my throat, I'm gonna spray the crap out of my nose. See if I can.
And while you do that, I'll just start off, if you like, on the Bounty Hunter Award and redistribution that coming on Monday.
Yeah, go for it.
In the past few months, we've been looking back at old content and thinking about how we can change it for the better. Don't introduce it in the first place. Maybe you didn't hear about it, but in January we implemented the mining and smithing rework. Yay. Later on this month, we'll all be updating firemaking. Again, yay. Unfortunately, sometimes the best change is to remove content altogether. Yay. We had the very best intentions with Bounty Hunter, but over time, we realised that the minigame is just not fun to play. Aww. This week, Bounty Hunter will be removed from the game, but don't worry, all the content that was previously tied to Bounty Hunter and scanned by all those people out there who were doing it will be redistributed through the game.
And everyone who got all of those rewards...
all the boosting made their millions.
Enjoy! There's a video out there that was sent to me by Sudwood that there are gold farmers out there that made a lot of money. Like,
yeah. Well, that was basically who was doing it.
Yeah. And, I mean, the individual who made the method made a lot of money as well. He didn't necessarily make money off of the method, but he sold the technique that he made and made a lot of money off of his initial, creation of the method. And that alone is, in my opinion, reprehensible. And, I think he should be tarred, feathered, and beaten with a spoon.
And never allowed back on the game.
Yeah,
but anyway. Anyway, let us move on. The new Slayer Master. The removal of Bounty Hunter left Mandrith out of a job, so we decided that he'd earn a promotion to Slayer Master, who now specialises in wilderness tasks. These challenge you to slay the denizens of the wilderness while keeping an eye out for PKers. Players will need to be level 85 Slayer to engage with Mandrith. The Slayer counter will now show when you're on a wilderness-specific task. While working on these, you will obtain Slayer bounty potential, which can be exchanged for rewards from Mandrith. You can also kill other players to steal some of their potential. Ironmen can still do the wilderness tasks and earn potential. They will not be able to steal potential from other players, but a successful PK will reduce the other player's potential to the same amount if it was stolen. Play nice now. Because Mandrith only has a few wilderness denizens as tasks, you won't be able to use your block and preference list with him. Mandrith's shop is in the Edgefield Bank and now stocks Slayer awards, including the bounty emblem.
Tasty.
So Mandrith's shop changes. The following items have been removed from Mandrith's shop, either because these items are now available by alternative means or because they're no longer relevant. And they're the small and large rune pouches, the superior armor sets, the Bounty Hunter teleport unlock, the Revenant pet unlock, and we've also added the Fremennik equipment patch to Mandrith's stock. Reward distribution. Rewards that could formerly only be obtained through Bounty Hunter are now accessible through the following means. Rune pouches can now be crafted from materials found in the wilderness, while rune crafting in the Abyss, you'll obtain magical threads which can be used to create both small and large rune pouches. The rate of obtaining threads scales alongside rune crafting level and will be affected by the effects of the demonic skull. The small pouch uses 30 threads and requires 55 rune crafting to craft. The large pouch uses 100 threads and requires 90 rune crafting to craft. Now, that is an excellent update, I think. The rune pouch is being made through rune crafting.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, that is something that makes a hell of a lot of sense. And, I know they needed rewards for Bounty Hunter, but it should never, something as a skilling item should never have been done through something that was a PKing thing anyway. So, that is a really, really good update on that one, I think.
Much agreed.
Ogre flasks can now be crafted using 10 robust glass and will hold up to 6 doses of the Ogre Spa Pool waters instead of just 1. You'll need to have completed the quest as a first resort and have level 89 crafting in order to craft the Ogre flask. The Amulet of the Forsaken is now a super rare drop from the Barrows reward chest, and that is regular Barrows, not Rise of the Six. So for everyone want that amulet, just head out to the brothers. The Revenant pet has been removed from Mandra's shop and is now a rare drop from Revenants. Each time you get the shop.
When you said the brothers, it just reminded me of the Super Mario Brothers theme song from the original Super Mario Brothers show, Super Show from like the 1980s. I'm sorry, I just
never actually watched that.
It's so good. I mean, it's not good, but it was good for like the time. Anyway, sorry.
So that's okay. So the Revenant pet, each time you get the drop, you unlock the next tier pet as a potential, and the rarity increases with each tier. The Ancient Warriors equipment patch, when killing Revenants on a Slayer task, will now have a chance to drop that patch. Unlike other Ancient Warrior gear, the patch will not be dropped by Chaos Elementals. Bounty emblems can now be upgraded using Slayer bounty potential and will no longer be upgraded randomly. You can check how much potential you need to upgrade by right-clicking the emblem in your inventory. And since there is no longer a bounty hunter zone to teleport to, the bounty hunter teleports have been removed from the game. All bounty hunter points spent on teleports will be refunded.
Good.
The Wilderness Shared Loot tab. The Wilderness Shared Loot tab has been updated to include items that were previously only available through Bounty Hunter. These items and their drop rates are listed below. The Wilderness Hilt is rare, Adrenaline Crystal is uncommon, Preserve Meat and Fremennik Equipment Patch is also uncommon, Revenant Drop Enhancer is rare, Bloodweed Seed is uncommon, and the Brawling Gloves are called Uber Rare.
Ooh.
Uber! We're going not just super rare, it is uber rare.
We're just going to make up levels of rarity. Nice.
No, we just change it to German because it sounds,
Ah, yes. Okay.
Transmogrification unification. We have heard that your indication that you'd prefer a modification to the current transmogrification location. We therefore serve notification and commend our developers' dedication to their vocation. Indeed, let us add to this communication some further qualification, which we hope will provide further demystification and education.
You can't see, but I shot myself on the webcam.
Right, enough of that. With over 40 transmogs in the game, we're aware they take up a lot of bank space, and all too often, you don't have the one you want at hand. As a result, we've made the following changes. All transmog items have been moved into a dedicated separate tab on the emotes interface. Items will be automatically added when they are unlocked. However, you will have to add tradable rings to the interface manually. These can be added to the interface by right-clicking them and selecting Add to Transmog Interface, and can also be removed at any time if you wish to resell them. And transmogs can be filtered by categories. The grouping system inspect feature. This is one that'll get you kicked out of all those high-level PKing things, PVM groups now when they inspect you and you don't have all the right equipment. Ever wanted to get to know your team better? Then you're in luck, because we've just implemented a feature that allows you to examine your group members' equipment in detail. Just right-click on a player in your group and you'll be able to kick them out when they don't have the highest tier of weapons, equipment, and perks. Sorry, you'll be able to see their current worn equipment, backpack, and beast of burden.
Yes,
is what it really says.
Big Brother is finally here.
Obviously, all the Lootescape stuff and all that is there again. But
that was part of the patch notes. Is that what you're saying, or is that just
what's that?
With that update? Where's that from?
No, that's the wilderness. The grouping system.
That was just part of the update, huh?
Yeah, that's just part of the grouping system update.
Yeah. They just added that in, huh?
Yep.
Damn them. I hate that. I hate that update.
Yes. Yeah, it really is going to be bad for people just trying to get into a group. You say you've got a mate who's taking you along, but the others in that group say you're not good enough, nut, you're out. So it's going to just make it harder for people to sort of just tag along and try and learn and things.
I figured that they were going to sneak it in via the patch notes. I didn't what does that have to do with the wilderness? I just didn't figure that it would be the wilderness and the grouping system. That just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
To me. Okay, sorry, my bad.
That's okay. I'm just having a quick look through the patch notes. The smithing level benefit for smelting extra bane bars was missing from the skill guide. Has been added. It's now possible to fletch blackstone arrows on a portable fletcher. Kalia, the farmhand collector, will now correctly collect animals from the breeding pen if you were to leave the area with less than the max amount of animals inside the pen. Trim Masterwork armor will no longer get stuck ticking zeros under certain circumstances. There's actually quite a few, but there's not a whole lot. Oh, this is a good one too. Okay. Hearts of Ice will now correctly retain which categories are frozen when logging out and back in.
Oh, nice.
I'm forever having to relock Invention because I keep getting, every time I'll get an Invention lamp or an Invention star.
Yeah.
Which at 200 mil are worthless, so I just have to convert them to oddments.
Which oddments are amazing, but yeah, I get you.
Yeah. Well, that's. But yeah, you get enough in the other way.
Yeah, I hear you. You'd rather just get another prize.
Exactly. So there's not a whole lot more there. Just a lot of force walks and things done. So yeah, that's basically it.
All right. Shall I move on to the next document here? Your favorite update of the year? Or a hotfix, rather. Gemrock and Uncut Onyx. It says, hello, everyone. Today, we released a hotfix to remove the ability to mine Uncut Onyx from Gemrocks. The reason for this is that the amount of onyxes in game has increased by almost double since the mining and smithing rework, and that it was an unsustainable amount of onyxes being produced from mining. The amount of onyxes being mined from Gemrocks has meant that 10,000% more uncut onyxes were entering the game from mining than before the update. This has been completely saturated the game with uncut onyxes and meant that the gem has hit its ALC price. This hotfix allows us to try and salvage the uncut onyx market. It is a very valuable commodity in RuneScape economy and had a healthy market prior to this problem. It will take time to recover, but we hope this hotfix today will allow it to start recovering. We realize that this may see a nerf to the profitability of skillers, and we want to reassure that this simply isn't the case. We want skilling to be profitable, and we will continue to release content in the future that helps to promote this. Thanks, the RuneScape team.
Okay, now this is the first time I'm going to call bullshit on Mod Shawnee. I like him. I love the guy. I think he's fantastic. But to say it's not a nerf of skillers, it absolutely is. The reason they have done this is because the PVM community were absolutely screaming about the loss of profit from their onyxes from Araxor and such. Now, I thought it was a 1 in 1,000 drop chance. I found out just before we got on the show, it was a 1 in 400 chance to get an onyx from the Pyrnassius mining rocks.
Yeah.
Therein lay the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, whoever thought 1 in 400 was a smart thing to do needs their head read. I mean, even 1 in 1,000 was too much. What they should have done is made it a 1 in 5,000 or a 1 in 10,000 drop. Not just take it out completely. Yes, okay, over 10,000% more come in. But I mean, when you made them that easy to get on there, of course, people are going to go there and saturate the market with them.
Mm-hmm.
But to sit there and say, this may be seen as a nerf to profitability, we want to reassure you this isn't the case. I'm sorry, that is just out and out BS, because it is a case. It is an absolute nerf. We want skilling to be profitable, and we'll continue to release content to help this. That's fantastic. But what you have got to stop and think is, A, look at the balance of the drop rates, but B, stop listening to that small community of PVMers who sit there and rant and rave and cry because another one of their items has dropped a few GP in price.
They hold the economy by the balls, Pern.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've made a masterwork set of armor, which I'm refusing to trim because it's once I trim it, it's actually I lose money to trim it. If I were to trim it and then try and sell it, I'm actually losing money because they're making all the money on those essences. We've got to get a real balance. And this is just another way where they've just screwed everyone over. And I agree. It was our hand, but let's not blame the players or the skillers here. And let's not screw them over.
No, let's blame
put
the
them back on there. Yeah, no, but let's blame whoever put it as a 1 in 400 drop.
Yes.
Outright. I mean, and the QA team who never thought.
Here's the thing: going from one extreme to another is not the solution, right? Going from mining all the onyx in the world to mining none of the onyx in the world makes nobody happy on either end, right? So that's clearly not the solution. I think our little spat on Twitter to Mod Shawnee, I think, was really the best capture of it. The nutshell was, you were like, WTF, and I was like, hey man, you just nerf them into oblivion instead of deleting them. Like, 1 in 10,000 would have been better than 0. That's
right.
all.
I mean, on Tuesday when and what really annoyed me, this is the way, just the sleazy way in which they did it. It came in a few hours after the game update on Monday, so it wasn't in the patch notes, it wasn't in the news.
Yeah.
Let's just hold this back for a few hours and then just do it. Oh, we've done this little hot fix. It's not a hot fix. It is a complete nerf. I mean, sorry, this is something you've obviously been working on and knew about. You could quite easily have put it in the news and let people know. Or even say, hey, listen, guys, there's too much coming in. We're going to take them out for a little while we decide what's happening. I would have been happy if they come out and said, hey, listen, we're stopping them for the moment. We want to look at it and rebalance it properly. And as I said, 1 in 1,000 I thought was too much, but 1 in 5,000, 1 in 10,000 is a great way. And that then gives that wow moment again when you're mining.
Yes.
You've taken away that wow moment, because, I mean, and there was 2 1 hour sessions that I did where I got 4 onyxes in those hours.
Nice.
Especially because of the Cape perk where you get that double drop. It works on gems as well. So it was like a 2 double onyx drops, which crazy. But that was like, that was an exciting thing for me. Now, if that happened in a 1 in 5,000 drop rate, that's even more exciting, because it's not, you just really get that wow moment, and they've taken that away from the skilling again, and that it really annoyed me. That on top of adding, I mean, everyone knows, I'm a bit OCD on my collections, so the Slayer Codex is something that I take pride in having fully completed. And again, they've just decided, hey, we're gonna force you back into the wilderness and throw in another soul down there. Now, there's plenty of other creatures that don't have souls.
Addy was saying that there's not a single person at Gemrocks right now, thanks to that.
No, well, there wouldn't be. Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah. What's the point now?
Yeah.
I mean, Dragonstones are still, are still good, but
10K a pop.
It was that wow moment that you got for an Onyx. Yeah. But anyway, so saying,
just to pop in for a second. Back in the day, when Gemrocks originally came into Prifddinas, when Prifddinas originally launched, I used to mine the original Gemrocks for that chance at an Onyx, and I would get maybe 1 or 2 Onyx, maybe 3 Onyx a day, and I would be happy with that, because Onyx back then were like 8 to 10 million, but even now Onyx still being 3 to 4 million, that was still fun, but now that's just gone. I can't even do that. Thanks, Jagex.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, I remember going out there, and I mean, I used to mine for a few hours. I think it was like every 10 hours. I picked up. I only ever picked up like 1 Onyx from those Gen Rops, but it was that wow factor when I did finally get it. And they've just totally destroyed it. And as I was saying, that on top of then throwing another soul into the Slayer Codex that forces me into the wilderness. I mean, once I heard that on Tuesday, I logged out of the game for several hours. I was just that angry. I just couldn't play the game. I come on later on that night, and because obviously early morning on a my Tuesday night, which is an early morning Tuesday, and sort of midday type thing in the UK, there's not going to be a lot of people on. So I ran out to the wilderness, got my soul on the first kill, and then I had a PKer come and attack me. And I'm sitting there, and he's in his magic gear, and I thought, screw this. I'm going to fight back this time because he tele-blocked me. I couldn't teleport away. I actually killed him.
Nice.
It was, and I picked up an abyssal wand, and I got about 118k of gear from him when he died, which which was really nice, and just ran back and banked it all and sold it. So that was, I was going to keep that abyssal wand as sort of like a trophy. the PK of it. Right. I thought, nah, screw it, I'm selling it. but I mean, that's it. People, they're going out there and they're forcing us into this stuff, and I hate the wilderness. I don't want to go there, but I also, as I said, I'm a little OCD on those collections, and it doesn't feel right to me not having it completed. So I have to go out there and complete it, and it just. With a lot of other Slayer creatures that they haven't added to the book, it's like, well, you could have left the Revenants out. You didn't have to force me out there. If you're going to do that, go back and add all Slayer creatures to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my rant for the day. I've calmed down a lot. If you had seen me Tuesday and Wednesday, RR Man was having a good laugh at me. He was looking forward to this show because I was even dropping F-bombs, which I'd never do. So yeah, that's how angry I was.
Yeah, I'm surprised. So you've really had a chance to take a bath then, seems.
Well, I think because I got the soul on the first kill and I killed that PKer, that actually made me feel it felt good. I've killed 2 people in the wilderness now.
Right. So you've gone and committed murder. That's what's calming
That's
it. Gotcha. Murder.
No. It was justifiable. No, it was justifiable.
Oh yeah, vengeance, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or what I like to call involuntary euthanasia.
Yeah.
Taking out the trash.
That's right. That's how it works.
But yeah, as I said, I mean, I really, really do think it's a huge mistake and a huge kick in the guts to Skillers the way they did this.
Oh, man. Yeah, it was not fun for anyone on the skilling side, but I understand why they did it, but they knee-jerked it. They went way too far. Yeah. And
that's right.
I feel like it's not too late for them to come back and say, oh, we can, just put the Onyx back in at a 1 in 10,000 rate. Come on, Jagex.
Exactly.
You can do the right thing.
That's all they have to do. I don't care that you nerf the crap out of it, but don't just remove it altogether. I want that WoW. I want to go to Gemrops occasionally and have that WoW moment.
Indeed. Let's see. Are you oh man, controversy on top of controversy. We're just gonna keep going right into the into the next crap here. So Comp Cape rework. Starting off with the official document here, because this just gets layer after layer. The Comp Cape apparently isn't a cape; it's an onion.
And I just want to sort of say also, Mage and I are going to look in the next week or so to do a special show, just a one-off, just on the Comp Cape.
Yeah.
So look out for that. Might not be this week, might be sort of next week type thing, but we will get that out there.
Yeah, we'll PM each other.
Have a real good
Discord
discussion on it.
And make a day that's not a RuneScape Weekly show day, and we'll pick a day to record in the morning. My morning, obviously, your evening.
Yep.
Whatever. Well, I'm free any of my mornings, so you just pick a morning and we'll do it.
Yep. And
that will be that. Yes, because this is they have a living document that we need to go through that we've put aside, and it's just too much for this show. Anyway. So starting off here, it says, "Hello all. We've heard your feedback and updated the current live design. Again, rs.game/comp design if you are interested in checking it out. As a TLDR, here's what we've changed. You've shown your passion and appreciation for the current appearances of Max, Quest, and Master Quest capes. We're keeping their appearances in-game with the following tweaks to the overall design. The Max cape and the Skill T1 cape will be separate capes. The Max cape is staying as it currently is. Visually, we are not changing it, and it will still be recolorable. The Skills T1 cape requirement will have things outside the remit of just having 99 stats. So it's probably going to have other things on top of max requirements, which makes sense. Yeah, obviously. So that's not new information. It's just basically telling us, don't worry, your max cape isn't going anywhere. It's probably just going to be relegated to the cosmetic realm, basically. The Quest Cape and Master Quest Cape appearances are staying in game. We'll either bring them into the new system so they become the lore tier 1 and lore tier 3 capes, although they'll probably keep their current names, or we'll make them the new lore tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 capes. And if you've unlocked the tier 1 and tier 3 lore capes, you'll unlock the current visuals of the Quest and Master Quest Cape cosmetic overrides. So you basically, similar to the current system where you can go back and put your old school, Quest Cape on your current Quest Cape if you want it. This would work similarly in that system.
No sense. I mean, you've already got the capes in game. People like them. Just make them T1 and T3. Why would you then turn around and design 3 new capes instead of just a T2 one and just make the other 2 cosmetics? I mean, it just does my head in.
Pandering to the max.
Yeah.
This is what you do when you're trying to please 8 different types of people at once.
But at one stage, they were looking at taking the Master Quest cape completely out of the game. Not just that it was going to be a cosmetic override; they were actually going to remove it altogether. Now, that is the cape that I am sort of proudest of getting in game. Over and above my comp cape, my Master Quest cape is my greatest achievement. I think, and to sit there and say, we're going to take this out because we're the I mean, I'm sorry, you've got to. I mean, this is the type of thing you should be throwing into the polls and not just listening to the people who are, you've probably got 5,000 or 6,000 people in that discussion room out of the 200,000 people who play every week. Get it into the polls, and if it loses in the polls, I'll accept that. But don't just take what the few people on your forums are saying. Get it out there and let us actually decide on that. And I can understand, or make the Master Quest cape a T4 cape. Because I think the T3 they want to take off all the combat stuff in there, which is great for questers. I mean, that was one of the things that annoyed me most was the combat that was required for the Master Quest cape. But I still did it because I wanted it, so make it a T4 cape. But anyway, it's some of their decisions. I mean, they've been doing such a great job recently in the last 15 months. They have done a fantastic job, but all of a sudden it's just like these mistakes that they've made and because they're all sort of grouped together, it just makes me so frustrated.
Well, this is the lead of this is Mod Tomb and the 4 Direction team, apparently.
Yeah, and they're trying to tear everything in 4 directions.
Oh, apparently. That's what it feels like, right? Great name for the team. Anyway, continuing on here, if you would like to grab the Comcape Dev Q&A's first section for me here, I'm going to begin the upload process on the Patreon pre-show.
Yep. So this again is a thanks to Sudi, the TLDW for 425 for the Comcape rework and Dev Q&A. Onyxes. We have no problem with skillers making money. Sorry. The bullshit was just sort of flowing out of my throat then too. The problem is that we were making money. We were making too much money. straight from raw elk values and at the expense of the healthy economy of Onyxes for our PVM community. If we want to give skillers money, we wouldn't pick a part of the game and just ruin it. The drop rate was the same as pre-work, but the AFK ability of it made it a lot of people start doing it. Right now, Onyxes are ruined. If there was no elk floor, they'd be worthless. That's how many came into game. We were concerned that with not enough people playing this update. Turns out people really love AFK methods. We weren't expecting the sheer number of people AFKing it. Replacing it with the first age coin is also bad for the economy. Traherne Hour only would still make the supply exceed the demand. Elder is also at elk price. That is also a problem, and that's not where it was supposed to be. Everyone is mining, and not that many people are smithing, so the supply is exceeding the demand. It's worse for Onyx because cheap deaths with a Ring of Death has a big knock-on effect on the economy. We don't want to nerf smithing. We don't think the XP rates are too good. We don't want to just introduce a new elkable or money-making mining by elkable if we can possibly help it. Skillers need to produce things that can be sold on the GE, not elked. Whatever we add will just hit elk price or be worthless, so it's not a trivial problem to solve.
So that's a bunch of information.
Yeah, you have basically trained people for elking items, though. That is the whole issue, and this is where let's find a use. I might pop this up here. I know it's not part of this, but I was talking pre-show about stone spirits.
Mm-hmm.
And the suggestion I had last week was, why can't we have a toggle where they can either bank the ore that you mine or give you the double ore that they currently do. Another thing I thought would be great is, for people who want to do, you get their items for invention. It is very hard to get subtle components and such at the moment because there's just no one is selling the bladed salvage on the GE. You can't. You make one addy. Sorry,
I sell it.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I'm one of the few. One of the few vendors.
I go 20% over GE price and still not buying it.
That's good to know. But I will now make sure I put my stuff over market. Thank you for letting me know.
No, that's it, because it's just so hard to get.
Bladed salvage over market. Let me make a note of that on my...
Yeah, no, definitely. If you've got bladed salvage, because most people set it to generally elk or break down themselves when they are slaying. There's very few people who pick it up. So what that is causing is, you can't get subtle components so easily. You can run around to the shops, but you can buy 10 a day. I mean, scimitars. Which is what it comes in from scimitars and whips, and no one's going to break down a 70k whip for a subtle component to make a few tight springs.
Yeah, right.
And I used to just go down there, make 1,000 addy scimitars, break them down, and get my subtle components. Now, you make 14. Used to take you 25 seconds to make. It now takes 30 seconds to make one scimitar at level 1.
That's
it's. So what we should do now is have your stone spirits make a corrupted bladed salvage or a corrupted spiky salvage. You can make it, so do it that way. That'll give value back to those stone spirits everyone's complaining about. B, it'll give people a way to get their components back. Don't have an elk or have a 1GP elk value on it, so people can't buy it to elk, but give the smithers, we'll buy the stone spirits, we'll smith it into this stuff. We can sell it on the GE, so for people who want invention components, there's a money-making idea for you. It's not going to be a huge money-making, but it's still going to be a couple of mil an hour for people. This is the type of thing we need to be looking at. They've got to start thinking outside the box, because unfortunately... people just expect smithing items to be elked.
Yeah, they do.
No one uses addy, no one uses rune. It has to be at elk value. The reason Elder Rune is so cheap is because there was so much rune already in the game. Yeah. So all people had to do is go and mine. yeah, people just had to go and mine light Animica and dark Animica and just use all that rune they already had and turn it into Elder Rune. And that's why this happens. And, we saw this right from the start. But I just don't understand why they didn't see it. Same as Masterwork. As soon as you said you had to get all this essence from the PVM community, you killed the profitability on Masterwork. Yes, it is a fantastic set of armor, and I have no complaints about the armor itself, but it was never going to be a profitable thing for skillers. Because
that's why I got mad and stopped playing for like a month and a half.
Yeah. Yep. But I call it right from the start. There was no way it was going to be profitable once you had to get next armor to break down for it, with no chance of it coming in through anywhere in skilling. You screwed the skillers again, and this is where the issue arises. And whatever you add is just going to be hit out price. So that's what's going to happen over and over again. You need to make things that are useful to people, and by useful I mean things that can be broken down for components, things that can be broken down for other things. That's why when you make a sword, you don't just drop a tier 92 sword. It should be built like you do with your dragon pickaxe. You build it up to a crystal pickaxe. You build it up to the pickaxe of earth and song. That's the way you want to do with your weapons. You have your dragon weapon. You build it up to the next level. You build it up to the next level. You have these add-ons so that those things stay useful in game. Be able to charge up your say you've got a scythe, you need to use 1,000 scimitars to recharge it instead of just dropping money on it. Do those type of things, and that's where you bring value into the game. But anyway, enough of my rant there. We'll continue on with this TLDW. Poll results. This was an opinion poll, not guaranteed poll content. No non-compers and compers, ex-compers had the same set of questions. There was no shock results. The stats given on the stream sometimes add up to 101% or 99% due to rounding. Capes of Accomplishment, especially comp, have best in slot stats and utility. We want to make the Capes of Accomplishment seem less mandatory for PVM. What is your preferred solution? The answers: Capes of Accomplishment should be cosmetic only, meaning useful capes come from other sources, fire capes, new drops, etc. Compers said 22%, non-compers said 32%. Capes of Accomplishment should still be best in slot, but the best cape should be easier to get and maintain than comp in some way, but still difficult. Compers at 29%, non-compers at 41%. And don't change anything about the way benefits on the cape works. 49% of compers wanted that, and 27% of non-compers. Question 2, and I mean that's it.
It doesn't surprise me very much.
No, because most compers are like, well, I've had to work this way. Why should anyone else have it easier? I mean, that is.
But even that 49%, like even that
actually surprised me.
Under the majority wants a change, so that doesn't surprise me. They want to shake it up. Like there's a good amount of people want to shake it up.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Some old updates never had requirements added to comp and or trim comp. Assuming comp is no longer tied to the best in slot stats and benefits, should we go back and add refinements for updates that we didn't add to comp and trim comp in the past? On the answers, yes, go back and add all missing requirements immediately. Compers 26%, non-compers 28%. Yes, add missing requirements, but do it gradually over time. 41% of compers and 45% of non-compers. And no, don't add any missing requirements was 33% of compers and 27% of non-compers. Now, that was surprised me because I was in the probably in the lowest there. I said, yes, go back and add all missing requirements immediately because, it's a comp cape. If it's needed for completion, it should be there. Gradually over time, I would have been my second choice because obviously, will give us time to work through them. And if every 3 months you're adding a few more, it gives you something to look forward to work at. So I can sort of go with that one as well. And that was the most popular one. Number 3, we need to write a consistent definition of what should and shouldn't be on comp and trim comp in the future. When we do, should we remove requirements from comp and trim if they don't fit it? Yes, remove requirements if they don't fit the definition of comp. 65% of compers said yes, 84% of non-compers said no, and no, old requirements should never be removed. 35% of compers said that, and 16% of non-compers wanted it that way. And again, that is that sort of I had to suffer, you should suffer type mentality that they seem to have.
That surprises me, actually. That so many people want other people to suffer.
Yeah. Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all. 35% of the community, I would say, yep, that sounds about right. 1/3 of them.
Yeah. All right.
It's like the people. I mean, I did the livered farm when it was at the hard part. I got that comp. I didn't mind it, and when they removed it, everyone's going, "Oh, I bet you're pissed off about that." No, I didn't care. If it makes it easier for someone else, fine. I got mine. I've done the requirement. Move on. I have no issue with it. But so many people complained as, why are you making it easier for them? Why are you making it easier for them? It's just like, it just seems to be human nature to want other people to suffer when you've suffered.
Fair.
The fact that the majority of compers said we should tidy out requirements was a bit of a surprise. We're not going to interpret that to authoritatively mean to remove Castle Wars without investigating that further. So
down with Castle Wars, burn it!
Yeah, or if you're going to keep the Castle Wars in there, make the rewards worthwhile.
I mean, you'd have to completely rework how Castle Wars functions, how it detects.
That's right.
Like AFK-ness?
Yeah. Well, that's it. Just have it where you've got to get so many points in, like they do down at Pest Control. You've got to have...
Even Pest Control gets gamed. I mean, I like it.
Because you can do it. You can do it in about 2 minutes, and then just sit there and AFK it, which a lot of people do. But Anyway,
we got it to keep going.
Next question. The way Capes of Accomplishment work makes players feel compelled to grind out new requirements as quickly as possible to get the cape back. What is your preferred solution? A special cape for players who have previously owned the cape, X-Comp, X-Trim, etc. 21% of compers and 30% of non-compers was the vote. A grace period during which the player can still wear their cape while completing the content. 59% of compers want that, 51% of non-compers. And none, this is not a problem. 21% of compers and 18% of non-compers voted that way. Again, the grace period is probably the best of a bad lot there.
I'm not a fan of grace periods.
No, I don't like grace periods at all. But you give them a special cape because you previously owned it. I don't like that.
All right.
Personally, I say no, it's not a problem, but I know so many people, and I mean that ruins a lot of content.
Here's the thing. You want a grace period cape? You can have your cape. On the cape, you get a big big yellow sticker with stripes on it that says "fake" on each side, going down until you finish the requirement, and then that sticker comes off. It's
just make it the ugliest caping game.
It's like when your car fails inspection, you get a big reject sticker on it until it's just like that until you fix it.
You've got to run around with a big dunce cap on your head until you get it done. Again, as I said, the grace period is probably the best of a bad lot of suggestions there, and simply for the fact that we do miss out on content or have a lot of content held up because of their worry about the compers complaining about it, because they have to rush through and get it back, and that's not right. I mean, nothing should ever be held back or just not done at all because you're worried about your comp cape community. What they said, what did we learn from Menopause and the 120 Slayer grace period? It was massively controversial. It just created a lot of aggro. Half the player base was unhappy that we were doing it. The other half were unhappy that we weren't doing it right. That's why we haven't done it more.
And that's why this is a mess. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. The poll very clearly shows that people like the idea. I think the problem with Slayer was it came out of nowhere with no guideline rules on the grace period. The question gave us the clearest results. Slayer didn't come out of nowhere. They announced that like 3 months earlier that they were releasing it with Menopause.
I'll be right back. I'm just going to refill my water.
Yep. That's okay. I'll just continue going. Our next question is, one, some players consider content like forced group content or very challenging PVM bosses to be inaccessible to them. Should such content be on capes of accomplishment? Now, I am one of these people. The truly high level group bosses I don't like because, I just don't like group bosses. But anyway, answers yes, all relevant content should be on capes. 40% comp, 26% on comp. Now, I voted for that myself because, hey, if it's relevant comp and it's a comp cape, it should be there. Much as I hate it, it's a comp cape for a reason. No, there should be a separate cape or trim which recognise completion of relevant content. 35% of compers said yes, 50% of non-compers said agreed with that one, and I can sort of see that going there. No, this content should not be required for capes. 26% of compers said yes there, 25% of non-compers. So that was a big surprise. They're saying those high-level bosses should not be required, that comp capers actually outvoted the non-compers for that one. So that was that was a bit of a surprise. Among the non-compers, there's a majority, but there's a plurality for the comp capers to keep everything on the cape. When we sat down to figure out how to do the design, the problem is you can point to one or two specific requirements, but actually when you look at what comp means, taking into account that there should be consistent requirements, if you start down the path of your reflexes are not that good and you aren't good at PVM content, that's a player type that we do support and sympathize with, then there's a lot of content in game you can't do. It's not just Solac. And so as soon as we start looking at it from that perspective, who is actually prevented from participating in what content, actually we'd have to strip a lot off comp. So although there's a slight majority amongst non-compers for having different capes, there wouldn't be much left on the base cape. It'd actually basically be max plus some grindy requirements. Then any requirement starts coming into this is a more difficult cape, and that affects minigames, quests, because you can't kill Siski, you can't do dungeoneering unless you're leeching, and by extension, you can't max properly, which if you're leeching, then you can do anything bar a few solo content. When we tried to make a reflex-based cape and grindy cape, it didn't make sense, and that is obviously correct. But, you should have, as we said, separate PVM capes, separate skill capes, etc. But again, sort of pretty much agreed with everything they said there. Did you have anything to add on that cape?
Not in particularly. I mean,
yeah,
it's such...
I mean, my thing is just remove group bosses. I mean, I don't care on the complexity of the solo ones.
Yeah,
it's the group ones. But
this is not. Go ahead. This is not content that I'm going to be participating in, so I don't.
Yeah.
Really have too much to say. Good.
Sorry, yeah. No, just where they said you can't do dungeoneering unless you're leeching, you can totally solo dungeoneering. I did 99% of dungeoneering to 99 solo. Yes, it was grindy. Yes, it was long, but that's not an excuse. But group bosses are that sort of. They're that one caveat I sort of think are tough because trying to get into a good group, and unless we're lucky where we know someone like David who's always willing to help us out.
Excuse me.
He's one of the great elite PVMers who's willing to do that. It is very hard to break into that group unless you're willing to pay a ton of money to get those kills.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Anyway, let's keep going. If you conceptually divide RS into achievements that anyone can do given enough time and achievements that certain players can't do even given a large amount of time, you've got all these hard achievements in combat, not much of it outside of combat. There's nothing in combat that isn't like that because there aren't any achievements tied to like farming Abbey demons. So actually combat is hard by that definition. So it would basically be comp without combat and comp with combat. Except if you can't do any Reaper bosses, then I also can't do Slisky, which means I don't have a quest cape, which means it's a comp cape without combat or all quests, or without minigames, etc. So actually, when we start looking at what the comp without hard PVM content looked like, it's just called the max cape. That's a little bit reductive, but that's essentially true. Based on that logic, our current plan is that Reaper stays on comp because combat belongs on comp and Reaper belongs on combat. Therefore, without that sort of, it isn't the comp cape, and I don't mean that in general principle of, it should be everything in the game. I mean, if we start trying to remove hard PVM content from the comp cape, we should have to remove loads of stuff. The same logic applies to if we try to remove group content. I could see us doing a special group trim or whatever, and that's relatively easy to add, but I don't have the final decision on that. Then the same logic applies to group content that can't be leached. Why just PVM group content? What's about all group content? That's okay then, but how about for these all your elite PVMers, why can't they have to complete the farm? That's comp,
right? Like,
it's
so
you're
arbitrary.
Not doing all that for them. You're sitting there. You are constantly giving in and twisting everything around to that PVM community, and it's screw everyone else. I mean, I'm sorry, but completing the farm should be a comp requirement.
I agree.
Completing the farm with all the little special pets that you get down there should be a trimmed comp requirement.
Mm-hmm.
You should have to unlock all the shinies down there, but that is as a trimmed requirement. But certainly unlock everything else in in the farm should be a trim requirement, and not let's put in a little magical weather maker down there so that you can unlock all your music there. But you've got it all. I mean, it's just really frustrating that they are just kowtowing all the time to PVMers, and it's just hurting the skillers. To me, a comp cape requires comp not just in killing all the bosses, it's in doing everything in game and completing everything in game. And why not? Why can't I just walk into Talos or Solak? As long as I make a hit, if I die, I've participated in that. Why does it have to be a kill? Why can't I just walk in there, fight him, die, done?
I've seen it, done it, right? I've seen the content.
That's exactly what they're doing with exactly what they did with farming for people,
right?
You saw it, okay, done. So why can't we do the same thing on the combat side of things for people like myself?
It's an interesting
on those group boss side of things.
It's an interesting proposal.
But this is the thing. It's like it's all leaning one way all the time. But if I say that to the to the PVM community, they would go nuts.
Of course they would.
But if I also say, well, then you should have to complete all the farms, they would go nuts because. Well, no, that's not fair. Why should I have to do that? Well, why should I have to kill the boss? Why can't I just go in and hit the boss once? If he kills me, so be it. But anyway, that's we're getting into sort of nitty gritties here.
Indeed. Excuse me.
Group bosses don't necessarily have to be on T1 combat, but they do belong on a tier. And I agree there. Yeah, the highest tier, the group bosses should definitely be on the highest tier.
Yes,
so that
definitely.
I do agree with.
Indeed.
Issues with comp. People chasing the cape just for best in slot stats, but are not completionist players, feeling the need to rush through new content, which ruins it for them, especially if they don't care for the update and just want to get back to PVMing. It also breaks the presets when you lose comp. Too many benefits tied to one cape, inconsistency of requirements, problematic requirements like Reaper and Castle Wars, lack of objectives to aim for. When you're maxed, the next tangible cape unlock is comp, which is a huge step. Trim is an even bigger step up from comp, so we want to fill that gap with other things to aim for. If you can't do one requirement of a cape, you don't have much choice but to settle for the cape you're at instead of having an alternative goal to go for. Conversely, once you've trimmed, there's not much to aim for, so we're looking to add more. But again, it's all around for the PVMers. I mean, what happened? What happened to the Master Max cape, where get all skills to 120 and we can have a cape there?
Wasn't that just my fantasy?
No, they actually they talked about it.
Oh, okay. I thought that was
I think
just
it
my
lost the
like.
vote.
I thought that was just
They
like my
had
wet dream.
No, I think that was one of those we had to get 75% and it got to like
Oh,
68% or something.
aw,
Yeah.
why? Why? Come on, chat. That's
Because
like,
it was for skill.
yeah. We
Screw the
just
skill. I mean,
because we only have 55% of the community, we can only get like 11%
yeah,
of the PVMers to help us out. Come on.
yeah. That is really what annoys me. Is it just Jagex really just seems to be moving more and more towards that, that PVM side of things, and just, hey, you skillers are just going to sit there and accept what we the leftovers we dish out to you. You're just going to accept it. You're not going to complain. We really do need to get out there on Twitter and start fighting for for ourselves as well, because the majority of the community are skillers. So, let's get out there and let's not just lay back and take it all the time.
Right? Unless you're into
Anyway,
that.
tiered systems. Can you take over that? I just need to have a
Yes,
drink.
I certainly can. So tiers. All tiers of a category are required for the comp cape of that tier. Roughly, tier 1 is about as hard as comp. Tier 2 is trim. Tier 3 is true trim, which is something that the players kind of made up. In practice, tier 2 comp will probably be more work than trim, but no individual requirement should be as long as Castle Wars. This is Modjack's intuition. An example,
And I love that idea.
yeah, I agree. An example of lore capes, and I believe there's an image here that they have. It's just kind of a flow chart where it goes. So yeah, it's just max capes, then mini and post quest achievements would be lore tier 2, and lore tier 3 would be like all lore achievements and lore books. It's kind of like a rough idea.
Like how they call them Chivos.
Yeah. Make it nice and hard for me to try and figure out what the hell they're talking about.
That's when you said achievements. Okay, it's Chivos. It's achievements. Got it.
Until we sit down and plot out where each requirement goes, we can't say what the cape requirements are going to be. A lot of the existing capes map out somewhere into the capes, so tier 1 skilling is effectively the max cape. There's been an internal disagreement about whether the old capes still exist. Such as, does the max cape still exist even though tier 1 skilling is basically the same thing? We are interested in people's feedback on this issue and what to do with the old ones. Unlike tier 1 comp, which we won't have the exact same requirements for, and tier 2 comp and trim, this is fucking confusing, which is why we have made them legacy and not the other ones. There is unlikely to be any difference in requirements for the tier 1 lore and quest point cape, tier 1 skilling and max cape, etc. We could just make the tier 1 skilling cape the max cape and tier 1 lore cape the quest point cape, but then there's an appearance conflict. For example, the tier 1 skilling should be better looking than the tier 1 skilling, and currently comp cape is the logical progression visually for the max cape. The way we handle the retro graphics is also an issue, but if the current appearance of the quest point cape, master quest cape, max really matter to people, then we need to know. Also, there's an update, which I think we'll cover later. The names are only to help convey the idea, to help people. Of course, that's, they're working titles, obviously. I expect there will be titles for each of the meta achievements. The title cost is low to develop. Capes themselves, no shit. It's just people spitballing in a room or on a table, probably smoking weed. Capes themselves are pretty costly to develop, which is why we aren't making capes for tiers of ones we feel players don't really care about. Minigames miss exploration. If the existing titles are important, then let us know, such as the Completionist. We are going to pull the variations of the initial final concepts of what the capes look like. We need a mission statement for what T3 means. Does it mean you are a master of all aspects of the game, or does it mean you've grounded everything out like crazy? Because those are two completely different things. T3 combat could conceivably have Golden Warden. We don't know yet. It could be that we need a hypothetical tier 4 to put the really insane things on, like 200 million in all. That doesn't belong on tier 3, but maybe it belongs on tier 4. We might not even have a cape associated with tier 4, but it might have an achievement instead. You know, that's fair. Go into that category again with the virtual stuffs. You know, just the nod winks. And then in 10 years, in 10 years we get a cape. You know, that's that's fair. You know, I'm okay with that because here we are finally getting a Master Max, sort of, right? We're actually finally getting that stuff. So I'm kind of okay with it. I'll move on here to non-stat cape bonuses. It says we need to look into exact implementation. It may be you need to unlock them again. It may be there's a new reward that allows them to be passives or give you automatically if you have to unlock. I'm assuming they're talking about if you already have the capes and if they have bonuses attached to them.
Yeah, well, things like, you know, as a master quester, I mean, I had to go and do the, get the, what's that? Ava's alerter.
Mm-hmm.
So, but to actually use it as it's on the, it only adds onto the comp cape.
Yeah.
Even though it's a quest cape requirement.
Yeah.
Why can't I use it as on my quest cape? And I think they talk about that. If you've unlocked it, we will. It's going to be a passive. So if you've got it unlocked, it'll just be there automatically on whatever cape you have.
Gotcha. Passives will probably be player tiered. Some effects may remain on their capes. Should the Ice Strike passive fire cape kill and be on all capes or just those capes? It should probably remain on those capes. It would give them, specific uses. That makes sense. Actives.
Well, that's for the for the cape and kiln cape, which does have that. Wear this, and they are the best in slot capes other than comp cape anyway. So to give it that passive effect there, I think yes, keep those sort of special ones. But things like the quest ones should be just once you've unlocked it, it's unlocked and available.
I agree with that. If it's a quest reward, it should just go on the quest cape.
Yep.
Actives like teleports will probably be on capes. If we need to, we'll implement a cape customization interface to determine which right-click optimizations you wish to keep. If the amount of right-click options becomes very huge, like the Magebit teleport, all Master Quest cape teleports, or RE cape teleports, I'm assuming they'll make an interface. We'll have to put all the passives somewhere, maybe part of an achievement. Tier 1... Yes?
No, make it an achievement.
Yeah. Who doesn't like achievements? Tier 1 skilling in Max Cape will unlock the ability to use all 3 skill cape perks. Expert capes will unlock the ability to use 2 skill cape perks. Ooh. Cape stats. By having it stack benefit on top of your other capes, it means both your cape and your tier 1 achievements matter. The idea is to have all tier 1 achievements give the stats. If, however, we do have the requirements and there's not much in tier 1 MISC, for example, then we may not give it the stats. So stats are kind of like on the edge right now is what I'm hearing from that. They may or may not give cape stats depending on
depending on what you have to do for it. There's no use putting stats on something that's going to take you 15 minutes to do. Really,
right. I mean, obviously, yeah, that makes sense. Lockdowns. Okay, I'm scared already. Lockdowns are easier to keep track of than individual grace periods per content. 6 months may be too long. 3 months may be better. I think 3 months is a huge reason why we had Menopause criticism. It deemed was too lenient. How long should a lockdown be? There was a straw poll on it.
I would have said 1 month.
What is a lockdown? I don't understand.
A lockdown is a grace period.
Oh.
You get to keep your cape to use for that long.
So the highest percentage being 33% was
every month, 12 lockdowns a year.
12 lockdowns a year. So, you know, stuff yourselves. The absolute primary reason of having grace periods at all is so you can do content with your cape on. The exact length of a lockdown isn't as important, just that you don't have to do it day one. I think some people like no grace periods for the race of getting back comp capes and seeing who has done the new content. Yes, that's like, I enjoy that as somebody who doesn't have a comp cape and like really kind of like, I don't know, doesn't really interest me that much, but I do enjoy seeing people wearing them. And it's funny to me when new content comes out and I see everyone lose their comp cape. I like to watch comp capes pop back up. Like, that's fun to me.
See, so many people have overrides and things these days, though. So, like
But
me,
you
I had a
can't
comp cape.
use a
My
cause-
Master Quest cape
you
was still
cannot-
up, was still.
You,
No,
you-
no. But
yes, go ahead.
but when I had comp cape, my Master Quest cape was still overroded. So even if I was the first one to get the comp cape back, you wouldn't know because I had my Master Quest cape on.
Yeah, but I don't. Who cares? I don't care
You know?
about. Who cares about you? You're not using them. Plenty of other people care about their comp cape. You don't care about your comp cape. Apparently, most people do. Most people don't have a Master Quest cape, Pyrnassius. That is a real
Well, that's
achievement.
why. That's why I like that one the best.
That's all right.
Adio, to unskill yourself, just go and die to something. Sorry, Adio's just asking a question on how to unskull himself. If you just take everything off, go and die to something, and that you'll be unskulled. Or drink a cup of tea.
Yeah, you can. Oh, drinking. I didn't know that.
I forgot. Yeah, the tea. I forgot the tea. Yes, unskull. Oh no! Sorry, no. That's to take off the aggro. No,
Yeah.
just die to something. Yeah, sorry.
Anyway, where was I? Legacy
The
comp and trim?
lockdowns. Yep.
Am I done with lockdowns?
You've done with lockdowns, yeah.
We're done with lockdowns on MSNBC. Legacy comp and trim. It's not fair to take away people's existing capes. You may need.
Bullshit.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
I know. I agree. That's just don't make me say things I don't mean, Sudi. You may need to upkeep existing requirements like Reaper. Castle Wars remains unchanged on Legacy trim because we aren't changing requirements. Whether Castle Wars is put on new tiered system, we don't have a final decision on that. It might be that it ends up on tier 3 minigames because it's not tied to stats anyway. It's a less controversial aspect than Reaper, and it could be on a tier 2, but it will definitely not be on tier 1. You definitely need beers, though, to finish it. Holy crap, that requirement needs to just go. Put it on tier 96 in the back row.
Put it on that tier 4 you were talking about.
Yeah, to the invisible one, right?
Yeah. Yeah, 200 million everything and Castle Wars completed. There you go.
There you go. Moving along.
Then you know you've truly done the game.
That is your Magebit choking on yogurt in the middle of the show because I'm trying to rush my day.
First question and most upvoted commenter here. I just want to read this one out.
Go for it.
I'm curious, why on earth did JMods not think that everything from mining and smithing wouldn't end up at elk values? That's just how the vast majority of skilling content is already.
Right. I know. That's so true.
They
I hate
that into us. They have trained us to do that.
I know. It's sad but true. Sad but... All right, I'm going to get copyrighted if I say any more of that. This is from Jagex Tomb. This next one here is just a quick update on your beloved comp cape design. It says, hello all. We're sorry. No, we've heard your feedback and updated the current live design. As a TLDR, here's what we've changed. The max cape and skill tier 1 cape will be separate capes. The cape is staying as it currently is. Visually, we're not changing it, and it'll be still recolorable. The skills T1 cape remains... the skills T1 cape requirements may have things outside the remit of just having 99 stats. The quest and master quest cape appearances are staying in game. We'll either bring them into this new system, so they'll still become the lower tier 1 and lower tier 3 capes, although they'll probably keep their current names, or we'll make the new tier 1 through 3 capes and they'll and you'll unlock them tier 1 and 3 lore capes. You'll unlock the current visuals of the quest and master quest capes as cosmetic overrides.
Well, that's actually probably not too bad. If they did that, I would then still have one of the rarest capes in game because no one else would be able to do it.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Just make new ones. Because I've got one of the... Yeah, I'll have a discontinued rare cape. Mm-hmm. Do it.
I mean, it sounds like it. Now I have to rush to get that cape. Holy crap. You've shown us that having any of the tier 1 achievements is too different from and this is horribly written. I'm done. You get the idea. Mod2 is
he's just reading what we've just read out anyway.
Yeah, he's having a stroke apparently as well because like this project is just too big. Anyway, yes.
He needs to use apostrophe.
Yeah. And punctuation, just any punctuation.
Yeah, any punctuation. Okay.
Moving along. This is an interview here from Pocket Gamer on one of Jagex's this is from Jagex's business side, which we don't get to hear from too often, but this is interesting. So I wanted to go through it. It's a little interview. So we often hear how strong Jagex is as a company, right? So this is, I believe, Jagex's business. One of Jagex's business devs here.
This is their hat tip to Women's Day. Let's face it.
Pyrnassius is
shut up.
Just a chauvinistic pig. Let's be honest. This says Jagex is Cassius Curran on an international career in business dev by Craig Chappell, senior editor. Today, an International Women's Day, and to mark the occasion, we'll be highlighting some of the incredible women working in the games industry across both PocketGamer.biz and PCGamerInsider.biz. You can catch all the profiles here. So here at Jagex, head of business of development, Cassia Curran, discusses her role at the long-standing RuneScape developer and her path into games industry. She also tells us about what her team is doing to celebrate International Women's Day and how the studio wants to inspire the next generation. What are you doing with Jagex for International Women's Day? We're focusing on activities aimed to inspire more women to consider the games industry as a career. According to the research we've looked at, having visible female roles models is a real effective way to inspire young women to pursue a particular career, so we've made a video interviewing various women at Jagex. In addition, at 5 p.m., Friday, March 8th, 15th, female Jagex employees have volunteered to take part in a Reddit AMA where we're answering questions about our careers and sharing advice on getting into the games industry. Plus, we'll be tweeting our career profiles of our female employees. Like many of other UK games developers, Jagex wants to increase the amount of women who apply for our open roles. We want to show that we're an inclusive and welcoming bunch and highlighting how awesome the games industry can be for your career. Can you tell us about your current role and what it entails? I'm the head of the business development. What business development entails in the games industry does varying development on the company. For example, in a work-for-hire games development business will focus on securing clients who want to commission your company to build a new game. At Jagex, I'm doing more generalized business development, which can involve sourcing games for our publishing arm, finding the right home for a legacy game, seeking partners and platforms for our projects, and working on M&A opportunities. I occasionally joke that I get paid to play games and party. I definitely have to keep track of trends within the games market, which involves playing a ton of games, and I attend to networking events, which is great, as well as finding potential partnerships. So it's not too far off. I think it helps to be at the nexus of the nerd and social butterfly if you're doing biz dev in the games industry. What did you study, if anything, that helped you get into the industry? What courses would you advise for aspiring professionals interested in your area of expertise? I studied Japanese in Edinburgh and Waseda University, which has definitely been useful for making me working in the games industry, but didn't directly get me in the industry. Probably a business course would be best, but really you need a lot of entrepreneurial spirit, a passion for games, strong analytical abilities, combined with great communication skills, and a willingness to work hard. Where did you start in games, and how did you progress into what you're doing now? Is this something you ever imagined yourself doing? I had a lucky break when I was studying in China. I got to know the CEO of a huge gaming company who needed a native English speaker based in China to work in investor relations, as the company was listed in the US. After doing that for a few years, I transferred into the international business development team, which was working on bringing Western games into China. With them, I negotiated several publishing deals for mobile games, including The Trail and The Room series to be published in China. I've always played games a lot, but I absolutely never occurred to me as a career, even though growing up in leafy Wimbledon, I had the Eidos office of Tomb Raider fame around the corner from where I lived. My parents and my friends' parents were all teachers, doctors, accountants, and the like, but I always was desperate to get out and travel the world. When I got to China, I was inspired by the dynamism and energy of the games business. I never looked back. What part of your role do you find most fulfilling? I find meeting people in the games industry to be endlessly interesting. There's a huge variety, but always a lot of passion from people about what they do. I always really enjoy finding that great business opportunity, proposing it, negotiating, and working out a way to make it all happen. Moreover, very much enjoying playing games and getting to feel righteously productive about it. Do you think there are any misconceptions, public or professional, surrounding your area of expertise? I, for one, didn't know that this career existed until I joined a games company, so possibly the fact that it exists. Is there anything about the job or industry you wish you would have known when first joining? There are literally millions of games that I have published. Don't worry that you're not an expert on the games that are I can't speak today. Don't worry that you're not an expert on all the games that have ever been published. It's physically impossible to play everything. What other advice do you have for someone looking for a job in this profession? The job involves a lot of networking and hustling, so someone looking for a job in business development would be well advised to show off their skills in that area. So that's their interview, and they did make a little video here, which I can I'll put up on screen, and I'll play the audio for it, and then Pyrnassius can come back from his self-banishment.
I'm back. I was just letting you read it.
Hang on. This video up on screen here, and here we go.
Hi, I'm Poppy.
My name's Georgia.
I'm Cassia.
Hi, I'm Sylvia.
I'm Marie.
I'm Francis.
I'm Emma. I'm Helen.
I'm Charlotte.
I'm Silvana.
I help keep the game afloat, so I let people log in and I let people pay, and sometimes I make cool stuff.
My job involves making sure that all of the characters that the players interact with look really great and are super cool.
Get all these small creatures and make them come to life.
The most fun thing is the people.
Everybody's so excited to be doing what they're doing, and it's really infectious and uplifting.
Probably interacting with the players. I really like talking to them and going to Runefest and everything. I just really like having that sort of community there.
Having these things in-game that you made and you now get to share with all the players.
I think just how crazy the place is, but in a good way.
It's not the usual boring office environment.
I started as a senior game designer now. I'm a product owner owning all of the AI. It's a little scary, but also very, very fun.
Well, it's probably a tie between working on the Game Center login and then also holding up the Shadow Drake at RuneScape Live. That was a big achievement as well.
Showing my first piece of work on the live stream. I was really quite nervous to go on the live stream, but once my work was shown, the reaction was so great and it gave me a lot of confidence going forwards.
I would really like the industry to be perceived differently from the outside. What I think that we should be trying to do is getting in really early when kids are still in primary school and letting them know that this is a viable industry. It's really fun. You can make stories that people can enjoy for the rest of their lives, and it's something that they should consider as an opportunity in the future.
I think I'd probably remove silos in the games industry. There's still quite a lad culture that goes on, and being able to break that down and get more involved with more people would be really beneficial.
More women would be nice.
In Korea, half of the team members in the art team is a female. When I came here first, I was pretty surprised. The art team is guys and I'm just one female. I want to give the motivation to a female artist to came to the game industry more.
I would love to have more women in gaming. I would love to have all their creative juices, all of their ideas, all of their passion, and all their skills to making games even better.
The key thing that I'd like women to realise is the games industry is actually a really, really great place to work. It's creative, it's technical, there's so many different varied roles that you can do, and it's essentially about making people happy. So your entire work life is about fundamentally making lots of people really happy.
Don't let your dreams be dreams.
Just to be more confident in myself.
Just a bit of self-belief, really. Just, yeah, you can do it.
Oh my gosh, I needed to chill out.
Get a mentor.
Study English more because you will go to another country.
Keep being stubborn, which was how I probably got into the game industry, was just, I'm going to get into the game industry and I'm going to enjoy it.
Just do it!
I'm from a time where, my parents used to think of games as a waste of time. So, obviously, my tip to my younger self would be don't listen to them. Games will get you somewhere.
And there you go. That is International Women's Day video, and hope you enjoyed that. We are back into the thick of things. And our next topic here, if I'm going to find it,
is from Firebat.
Is what?
It's from Firebat, a solution to the Onyx problem.
Ah, yes. I'm sure. I'll let you take this because this is your battle.
Okay. There's been a fair bit of contention over the latest hotfix, and a lot of one side telling the other side between skillers and PVMers to burn in hell. I personally fall on the skiller side of the divide, but can understand some basis in Jagex's action, though wholesale I do not approve. I propose a three-pronged fix to the situation. 1. Adjust the drop tables on the Prif Gem rocks. This is the obvious one. I would reduce Onyx from their 1 in 400 rate down to a 1 in 1000, but also remove sapphires from the table entirely. Replace them with varying degrees of spirit gems and or more emeralds to dragonstones. No, the first part, yes. Yeah, well, 1 in 5,000, I think. With the amount of people doing it, 1 in 5, I think, would be more than enough. Don't remove sapphires entirely and give more emeralds and dragonstones. Yeah. I think we'd get enough of those coming in from those. Elevate elk prices on core Metal Gear, at least for the Necronium and up, but would advocate for what it's worth to go ahead and do this with all metals. If regular mining retains a consistently superior GP per hour to gem rocks, people will be less incentivized to roll for that 1 in 1000 Onyx. I would suggest doubling elk prices at the baseline. Generally speaking, mining still won't slap 3 million an hour at an active/optimum rate, and that's perfectly acceptable. 3. Adjust some of the stone spirit drops from PVM and crystal keys, please. A lot of these were done with the old system in mind. What was a T85 drop has become a T50 drop, and oftentimes, especially when dealing with old bar drops, not even a full one. I would advise giving PVMers some actual ores back, increasing the rate of salvage drops, the level of ore, and for the love of God, make it so that everything that gives Addy and Rune Stone Spirits also give Luminite ones. Go look at old lists. Only replace most ores with spirits and ore of appropriate quality. Replace most bars with salvage. If it's okay if PVM yields some supply. To bar them from it entirely was also heavy-handed. Hopefully that will be enough to curtail PVM losses the update has brought.
I'm a little lost on this one. Guide me through this one here.
Okay. Basically, he wants to bring the Onyx back, but do it as a 1 in 1,000 drop instead of a 1 in 400 drop. I still think 1 in 1,000 is still a little bit too much.
Yeah.
He wants, Sapphires taken out. No. I mean, I think that's fine. The 1 in 1,000, as I said, I would go probably, maybe 1 in 2,500
What's
even.
up with number 3? Number
3. Okay, with number 3, again, it's the old Stone Spirits problem. I think Stone Spirits are perfectly fine as a Slayer drop.
Yeah, I think the rest of this is fine, but number 3 is a little weird.
Yeah. For bosses, I do think they should be removed altogether from bosses and replaced with alchables. The salvage is probably the best way for them to go. Just off bosses, get rid of stone spirits, give them the alchables.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to put some ore back into boss drops. No, we can't go back down that path. We need to take supplies off. Yeah, we need to take all supplies off the PVM thing. Give them their alchables, give them their coins, give them the things that can't be cut or mined or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I also agree, if you're going to do those stone spirits, if it's dropping Addy and Rune, then they should also drop Luminite, because that's the part that's necessary.
Yeah, it's the catalyst.
So I like that as well.
I agree. Yeah, that part I agree. All right. So,
PVM hasn't lost that. I mean, everyone's screaming. PVM hasn't lost that much. The biggest issue, I think, is God of War's Dungeon 2. They are bosses, so stone spirits down there don't make sense to me. In all honesty, give them their salvage back to sort of make up for that loss.
We had an individual in chat last stream who was at Vindicta and talking about the travesty that was Vindicta, how they were just getting trash for drops.
But again, that also makes that wow moment when you do get that 25 million Lance drop, even more worthwhile.
I guess,
what I mean?
Yeah.
You've also got to look at it that way.
But
it's I mean, we do need to be very careful in how we do things in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I would honestly take most of this and say that Onyx. I would bring Onyx back, because honestly, I think they're worth it. Crickets? No? All right, fine. Moving along? All right.
Yeah, I agree. I've said it all before.
Yeah, I know. I'm joking. I got a little happy story. For you.
Yes.
This is from Danny in AZ, who says, "Thank you, Jagex. My faith restored. My clan leader and good friend, Happy Witch, had fallen gravely ill to a really bad case of the flu. Vaccinate yourself. She's been gravely ill from us nearly 3 months in the hospital. All of us miss her dearly and have been sending her well wishes and whatnot via her son, who has kept us updated on her condition. She has been in a medically induced coma at one point. Upon getting a bit better and on the mend, she sent her son to log into her account to secure her Premier membership before it was too late. Priorities. However, turns out he missed it by 1 day. It had already expired. She has had Premier membership as long as I've known her. Sad day. Another clanmate, Mr. Sociable, contacted Jagex to tell them of the situation via Twitter and asked them if there was any way, in light of the circumstances, and any exception could be made. Personally, I would have thought it would have been a long shot. Turns out they did take care of it, and they are sending her some concept art as well. Thank you, Jagex. I cannot think of a better person to come through for her. You guys are awesome. So forget the fact that they were like, yes, we'll take your money. No, they also went and sent her some concept art for her, she's sick.
That's it. But I mean, they sent her the concept art, but they've also, I mean, generally when you miss a sale, you've missed a sale. Tough titties type thing. Yeah. They've turned around and sat there and gone, you know what? Yes, you have been. They probably looked at a thing and seen, you have been a member since that long. You were obviously sick. We are going to look after you, and that is, and that's what we say about Jagex. Everyone bags them about a lot of things, but they do a lot of things that are good like this. We've heard other stories like this, and it's always nice to bring out one of these stories and just remind people that they are a good company, in a lot of things. Yes, they make mistakes. Yes, they take Onyx off drop tables and such, and we can all whinge about that. But they do a lot of good things for people like this too.
They do. Moving along here, Parcels event. Positive. By Barnabas. There's a negative thread. Please rant here. Parcels again, which we actually covered on, I think, the last show.
Yeah, we did. That's why I brought this one up. And if you want to rant, go to the other one. This is for the people who want to talk good about it.
He says, I'm glad this event is back, only taking a few bank spaces as everything stacks, and I love how you can outright buy what you're missing. Personally, I'm saving everything up, like last time, and spending 1 day seeing what all I get. It is very nice to get some of the event and just see. Gives you free random stuff. Only thing I'm kind of uneasy with is having the weighty packages appearing in my inventory. I'm putting them into my bank for unboxing day at the very end, though I can understand this is, as I guess they were unique for a few players that didn't realize they could claim these. I'm looking forward to the last day of the event to see what all I got and quite a few unlocks. So, yeah, I thought the event was quite nice. I really like the cool package you can hold with two hands. You're, like, lumbering around with. It's actually quite fun. I don't know when I'll ever use it, but...
Yeah, I equipped it once, took a little walk, destroyed it, sent it to Django.
It's in my bank still because I like it. But
no, fair enough.
It's wasting my bank space. My bank is literally at 802 of 803.
Yeah, and mine's 783 at the moment. That's why I'm just destroying them all.
Continuing along, go ahead. You want to take a couple for me?
I can. So this is the Wilderness Question by Doug Lee 987, who says, "Extremely mad, but would like to know if this is my fault or the game's." Just recently did a new Wilderness Slayer task at Greater Demons. Went in with 3 items. Scythe and Luck of Dwarves using a few prayer potions. Got jumped by 5 PKers, woke up in Edgeville with no items. Pretty positive I did not click anyone or anything. So does Scythe in a multi-zone using AoE attack hit other players, and would it skull me?
Oh no!
It's your fault you entered the wilderness.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I'm saying it like I'm him or something. Like, yeah, I know. I'm sorry, Dad. Oh, man, that hurts.
That was funny.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Moving on is I Am a Rav, who more incentives for the Wildy Slayer. He says, so what are the incentives for high-level players to do Wildy Slayer at the moment? Killing green dragons for 69 XP, hellhounds for 94 XP, or greater demons for 135 XP a pop is really weak, even with a 20% boost from a demonic skull, which is pretty worthless. 20% of shit is still shit. Paired with how much time is wasted running from PKers, not to mention the apparent truckload of skull glitches, etc., it makes it seem like there isn't really a reason for mainscapers to participate unless they want an alternative way to make money from picking potatoes. Right now, the majority of players doing wilderness tasks appear to be Ironmen, but as an Ironman, I know I'm never going back once I get my T87. What's going to happen after that? I'm aware that incentivizing players to participate too much is going to make the value of T87s crash, which would also affect all gear below T87, but I'd like to see the following. Buff XP rates through the Wildy Skull when the emblem is held. The Skull's XP boost should scale to level to try to give Wildy tasks at least a viable amount of XP. Consider that corrupted creatures take 2 seconds to kill and give 500 XP each. For example, get 120% at a tier 1, get 140% at 50, 160% at 70, 180% at 80, 200% at 90, and 250% if you are 99. Lowering the death penalty for high-risk tasks. Losing 10 to 20 tasks worth of progress from one death is pretty big, and the majority of time spent farming the emblem is spent in the high penalty tiers. It makes it pretty much impossible to do deep wilderness tasks in hotspots like lava strikes or Calgarians if you're going for the emblem, which also makes it less worthwhile for PKers to be there either. If the deeper into the wilderness you have to go to complete your task, the less penalty there is for dying, you will be able to create a healthy trade-off for participating in deep wilderness tasks that you can't just insta-teleport away from. I suggest making players lose 100 minus wilderness levels of potential. 70% at level 30 is still quite a lot, but it is better.
I don't hate this idea.
No, yeah, actually, now that I'm reading it, it's not so bad. I realise after reading my post, the smarter way to adjust the XP rates is to make the tier of the emblems also have an effect alongside Slayer level. You don't want low-level players getting truckloads of XP just because they have a T10 and can be PK'd because they're such a low level, but it wouldn't be healthy for people on high-level players to get the full bonus with a T1 with zero potential. This would also incentivize players to hold onto their emblems instead of cashing them in, which would help retain the price of the T87s. You could multiply the above-mentioned Wilderness Skull XP bonus by something like emblem tier 2% that gives us T1 gives 1%, T2 gives 4%, T4 gives 16, T5 25, T6 36, T7 49, T8 64%, T9 81%, and T10 will give a 100% bonus. I know you know how to square numbers. That actually probably would get a lot more people. I mean, still wouldn't get me. I mean, as I said, they could.
No, but that might get people out there. Like the people. Like risks. Not me, but people.
Yeah, that's it. So that's actually not such a bad idea. When I saw the incentives, I'm sitting there. I just read the first couple where he's complaining about it, and I thought, oh yeah. Another whinger, but actually reading on what he's actually got some very sensible ideas there. I don't mind it at all.
Yeah, no, it's not horrible. All right, let's see here. If you take skill masters, I'll take the last 3.
Okay. Skill masters are needed by Tis Me True. Please add skill masters. These would be similar to your Slayer masters, but it would assign tasks related to non-combat skilling. I am sure with all the great minds, you could come up with a way for non-combat players like myself to be able to get some kind of enjoyment and reward out of tasks and assignments related to non-combat play. I really do enjoy RuneScape and want to continue playing, but can't do anything I like to get enough GP to continue buying bonds. I have enjoyed the recent 2018 updates and quests that were more skill-oriented. Thank you so much for that content. My biggest issue at this time are not being able to make bank just skilling, and since I don't or can't boss and slay, I can't get enough GP. I will continue to play my way until I can no longer get enough bonds to continue membership. Love RuneScape. Thank you for all the fun I've had over the years. I just hope you can and will find a way to let non-combat players like me compete with the Slayers out there.
Daily tasks is what that sounds like.
Well, that's it. But I think she's looking at trying to get maybe GP from things as well. Like with your Slayers, your Slayer Master don't actually give you GP, but maybe cashing in. You get a task of go and cut 500 magic logs, and they'll pay you 1,000 GP per log rather than what they sell for on the GP of like 69 GP at the moment.
Well, here's the thing. Black Desert Online does that, and it totally made me quit the game.
Yeah,
because selling to an artificial fake market just it's soulless. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, if they did, as you said, daily tasks basically give us that for that extra XP and things like that. There are plenty of skills out there you can make money with. It's just a matter of finding those skills. They may not be the skills you like, but if you did your shop runs every single day and sold those on the GE, I believe that's enough to make you get your 3 bonds for your 45-day membership. So if you just did that, which takes an hour a day or whatever it is to run around and just get everything from the shops to sell, you'll make enough. Go fishing. The blue jellyfish are selling 2,400 GP or something at the moment. If you go and do those, there are ways to make money in the game as just a skiller, enough to get bossing. I like the idea of a skill master that's going to maybe reward a little bit extra XP, maybe give you some sort of little incentive bonus. I don't want GP bonuses coming in, though. There's enough GP sort of in that type of thing, without, as you said, there's enough GP selling to normal players without sort of artificially doing these type of things. But maybe if we do something like that, it might help lift the prices of some of that stuff. If people go and sell to a store, it's like selling to, selling to a store is like an elk level though. So elk it, sell it to a store, same type of thing. So no,
if the store's market changes though, it's still a little bit different than elking because it's got like a market value, so a little bit different. Anyway.
Yeah.
I digress. So we can move along. I've got some weird posts, I guess, to go through here, and then we'll wrap it up. And sorry for the truncated show. I've had a weird week. I've had a very, very weird week. It's been a weird month. Weird year. Anyway, this one's called Really Jagex. I think he just hit the R key maybe one too many times.
No, it's the RR Man's one.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Adam in New Zealand. Adam from New Zealand. It's his.
It is.
That's why it's the double R.
I didn't
realize that.
I did not. I did not. I really didn't. I really did not. That's awesome. I've been bamboozled on my own show. That's awesome. He stealth bombed me. That's sweet. Right.
I thought that's why you chose it, because it was his one.
No, I literally had no idea that was his post. I mean, he probably put it in there, and I probably was going to put it in there anyway, but it doesn't matter. Anyway. Okay, yes, I'm another one of those damn quote-unquote skillers. That one of them rare kind of RuneScape players that comprises of over 75% of the skiller base. I'm sure you've heard of us, and I'm sure you know what I'm going to be mentioning this week. Those damn tasty black gems that were taken from us all too soon. Taking this into account, I please hope you can still hear me out. I truly don't want this to come off as a rage, because quite simply, I'm not raging. I understand why Jagex thought that this was a good idea. Onyx cannot be at elk value. It's simply not good for the health of the game in long term. This being said, Jagex came at this the wrong way. You made a binary decision, which was both poorly timed and completely unnecessary. As I said above, I am mainly a skiller, and I feel that this money-making is unbalanced towards the PVM in RuneScape 3. I said that, yes, I understand that they should earn more money, that they do hard work. Ironically, it takes more quote-unquote skill. But that being said, the balance is way off at the moment, as it has been for years. And let's face facts, rage has been built up, and which some of it, I'd say, might be deserved. Getting to the point of my post, I just want to know more on why Jagex decided to skip the nerf and go straight to the solid ban on the Onyx. And quite frankly, it seems quite a bit like the decision was made in less time than it takes for an Onyx to be mined. With the build-up of frustration that skillers are feeling at the moment, I really feel that you failed us on how this would fuel the fire. Here are a few ways I think you should consider to return balance to the Force next week. 1, bring back the uncut Onyx and have it at the drop rate of 10 to 25% of what they did before the hotfix. Maybe even half of it. Thank you, Blazing Ford. Thank you. Or 2, you literally have Onyx dust in the game already. Just give us some of that. That's not a bad idea. Just give us some of that sweet, sweet dust. You could literally have to beans to balance it down to the gram.
So he wants to be able to snort the Onyx dust by the sound of things.
There you go.
Just a gram of Onyx dust, thanks.
In summary, I really hope you reconsider your decision, Jagex. And P.S., at the end of the day, as a PVM buddy of mine said, this wasn't even close to the best way for skillers to make money at the moment, so as they discovered that, it would have slowly dropped off over time anyway. Cheers. And, I really like the idea of Onyx dust mining, Like, I think
if you get... That's actually, I didn't even think of that myself, but yeah. So we go to our 1 in 2,500 drop rate for the Onyx itself, and just get you can get 1 or 2 bits of Onyx dust every now and then, as well. I mean, do that as the 1 in 400,
right? Yeah.
That's actually, man, you've had a good idea.
Thank you. The agility cape is fresh from like last week. Just got it. Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. I didn't even think about the Onyx dust. This man is bringing new ideas to the table. This is why we have a podcast. Good stuff. Good stuff.
I do like it.
And next up here, to everyone who complained about Reaper being on the comp cape by Invincible1382, who says, I hope you're happy because everyone else certainly isn't. PVM and by extension bossing is a huge part of the game and, in my opinion, should 150% be included in the cape that signifies quote-unquote completing the game. But Reddit bitched, moaned, and complained about having to get good at the game, and now you've ruined comp, max, and Master Quest capes for everyone who loves and cherishes these milestones. You're ruining the game, and the saddest part is half of you will never get these milestones anyway. Ouch.
Okay, no, that's fine. Hey, happy with that.
I upvoted
but you're
that,
the one,
apparently.
You're the type who bitches and moans about having skilling things at it, or having to do Menafos, or wanting, not wanting to have to go and do the farming. See, that's the thing. I want this. You're ruining this. It 150% has to, because it's completing the game. Completing the game is also doing all that farming and doing all that other stuff that all the compers didn't want to do. A comp cape should be exactly that. A comp cape. A combat cape is something different, and that's what we're looking at. Getting that combat cape out.
Yes, well, and that's the thing, is splitting those tiers. And this is this is the type of argument that is needed. When this type of argument is thrown out there, it's got 40 upvotes, you know. It's good that we have these types of discussions. This is a constructive argument. I mean, yeah, of course, there's complaining in here, but it's, dare I say, constructive complaining. You know, it's not just a bunch of toxicity being spewed. There's fair arguments being said here. Even in his end being said here, he says, when he says you're ruining the game and the saddest part is half of you will never even get these milestones anyway. I mean, burn. He's burning everyone, but what he's trying to say here is there are people that are making calls on decisions that, you know, they're never going to actually even, you know, do. So basically, you know, they're trying to gatekeep content that they can't even get. But on the flip side, there are also people who are trying to gatekeep content that they have and are basically trying to protect on the flip side. So there's this power struggle that is going on, which is kind of interesting to watch, I guess. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting fight to watch this summer, I guess. I don't know. That's going to be... I wish I could stop playing with my microphone. Anyway, finally here, we have one more post for the day. 2011 Scape, baby. This is by Punava. I like his name. I want to open up like a Java shop. We sell coffee, but like we also do poetry, and you can smoke weed. We won't call the cops. Punava. Would you guys think it would cost a lot to make official 2011 Scape similar to old school RuneScape? That's the time when I loved RuneScape the most. Summoning, dungeoneering, etc. Could be a small team to similar to old school RuneScape as starters, and then if it gets more popular, they could do updates and stuff with the polling system. This guy's got big ideas. Thunder Jinx.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
actually, 2012 was my favorite time. That's when I started, and I really enjoyed the game the most. So, can I also have a 2012 server?
You know what? I mean, I really liked 2000 and like, I don't know, what was it? I don't know. You know what? I don't know. What if my favorite year hasn't happened yet? I really want to check out like year like 2023. Can I go in the future? Can I check out some prototypes?
They've already split the community once. We don't need it divided anymore.
It's so silly to just go check out some private servers. I can't believe I'm saying that. Don't actually do that. Like, I don't mean that. But when you say stuff like that, that's what you're actually telling that's what you actually want to do.
Well, that's right, because I mean, OSRS is the official private server. So.
Yeah, I mean, Jagex is not going to spin up a 2011 server for you, for real. I mean, come on. They have one official private server, and it's maybe eventually going to get to 2011 quality, quote unquote, if you will. But that's about all, and that's about it. But yeah, I like Thunder Jinx's comment. It just says, "Oh my God, let's split the game into 18 different versions for yeah, basically just one for each year."
That's it.
And that's it. That is it for this episode of the RuneScape Weekly podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in live. I super appreciate it. If you made it through, if you're just joining us and you missed some of the beginning, don't worry. I will be running this as a rerun, so you'll be able to catch anything that you missed, or you can listen to the end cap that I'm about to spew, and you'll be able to hear about all of our VOD and podcast services. Stand by. So Pern, anything you want to talk about?
No, I think I've settled down since the start of the week. As I said,
No more 10-hour videos.
Oh yeah, no, I am going to start hopefully getting back into posting videos on YouTube. Just trying to get some content out there. I do want to try and start live streaming again. It's just hard with the way with the kids at the moment, because I don't know when I'm running around with my son, driving him here, there, and everywhere. But yeah, going to do some tests at a lot of the Slayer creatures, doing 10 hours of videos. And the reason I'm doing 10 hours rather than just 1 hour is to get an overall, because in 1 hour you could get lucky or you could get very, very unlucky. So 10 hours I think gives a good, a good median range of what you can make per hour. So look forward to those coming out soon.
Heck yeah. And you can keep track of all of our stuff on social media. I'm also premiering all of our shows now on Facebook. So if you're following us on Facebook, you will be able to catch our premieres now on Facebook. So if that's convenient for you, they will also be VODs afterwards on Facebook. So you can premiere them as well on Facebook. That happens generally a day or two after they go live, but then they'll just be VODs on the Facebook channel afterwards, which is at facebook.com/RSWeekly. We're also over on Twitter at RSWeekly. You can check out our Discord. Pop over to runescape.chat in your web browser. That'll redirect you to our Discord channel. Runescape.video will redirect you to our YouTube channel. Twitch.tv/Magebit or Magebit.tv. That's our Twitch channel. If you can, head over into iTunes and give us a fair review, would you? 5 stars maybe. We'd really appreciate that. You want to join us in-game? That's cool. We're Kill, Skill, and Chill. That's Kill, Skill, the letter N, Chill. Or runescape.club in your web browser. That'll get us to our Rune Clan rankings. Or you want to check out my Rune Clan rankings. That's runescape.expert in your web browser. That's pretty cool, right? Anyway, you can also support the show. Patreon.com/RuneScape. Get the pre-show. Today's show was over an hour. And I think it was an hour and 15 minutes, roughly. It's a good pre-show. We had fun. It got a little too real at one point, but, some people like that.
we got politics in it at one stage.
Yeah. It was, some people like that. Some people don't.
Touched on it. Just the tip of the iceberg.
Not
too much into it.
It was a good show. I like the pre-show. We had fun. So, patreon.com/RuneScape. You pledge any amount of money, gets you access to the pre-shows. There's also a ton of free pre-shows over there. Pre-shows become free 3 months after we post them. So there's literally tons of 30 free pre-shows to check out over there. So while you were over there, just, get tons of free shows. Patreon.com/RuneScape. You want to give us money just because you like us? PayPal.me/RSW. That's our just PayPal. You want to check out my personal projects? You want to check out my actual poetry and the dementia project that I'm working on with my grandmother? Magebit.me. That's my real artist work, my artistry, if you will. Support me. Magebit.me. Anyway, we'll be doing it all over again next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Happy scaping. Again, if you missed anything, stay tuned for reruns. And also, I just want to see real quick if someone is live.
Yes.
Because I have a friend that I do really like. But I don't know if they're still live. They are still live. Okay. So we're going to raid my very good friend here, Pure Sushi, who is a super awesome person. So if you want to check out reruns, you can, but I highly recommend checking out Pure Sushi, who is a much better gamer than I. Anyway, happy scaping.